Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Whitewater Student Government President and Vice President Candidate Debate in advance of the March 17th and 18th election. My name is Douglas Bradley, current Student Body President, and this evening's moderator. Tonight, we have a single slate made of juniors Isaiah Wilson and Paige Linneman participating in the debate. Isaiah is a junior studying political science and public policy at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater and currently serves as Speaker of the Senate for Student Government. Isaiah first arrived at UW-Whitewater in 2022, where he quickly became involved in student leadership and was recognized as Senator of the Year for his work representing students. After taking a year away from campus to build and operate a home service business, he returned to Whitewater and was elected by his peers to serve as Speaker of the Senate. Through his work in shared governance, Isaiah has focused on strengthening student representation, adapting and improving AI usage, and ensuring that students have a meaningful voice in decisions that shape the university. Outside of student government, he enjoys philosophy, watching good movies, and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. Paige Linneman is a marketing major at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, where she is pursuing her bachelor's degree with an emphasis in artificial intelligence and a certification in experiential sports marketing. A dedicated student leader, she balances an 18-credit course load with her role as the Director of Communications for Student Government and her membership in the Delta Zeta sorority, where she has served on 3 different committees since joining in the spring of 2024. Paige is highly active in her professional development, competing in American Marketing Association events and representing the university and the club pickleball team. Recognized with the Lucy Baker Award, she combines her academic drive with a consistent commitment to representing her university through both professional competitions and collegiate athletics. Tonight's debate will operate as follows. We will begin with introductions, starting with the presidential candidate and then the vice presidential candidate. Each individual will receive up to 3 minutes. 3 minutes for their introductions. We will then move into a series of pre-prepared and audience questions. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer each question, alternating who answers first. Following the questions, the candidates are each allowed to give a closing statement, not to exceed another 2 minutes. The debate will go until about 7:30. Please note that in the front row, we have our timing crew. They will hold up a sign when you only have 30 seconds remaining. Can I get a 30-second sign? 30 seconds remaining. And again, when you have completed all of your allotted time. Please be sure to stop when the stop sign is shown to you. If anybody here wishes to submit a question, please complete the QR code at your table. Questions will go to the clerk, who will ensure questions are not repetitive and are appropriate. If you are joining us virtually, you can submit questions in the chat. As a final note, please be advised that we are live streaming and recording the debate this evening. The debate will be posted to the Whitewater Student Government YouTube page following the event. On behalf of the Whitewater Student Government and the students of the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, I thank you for your attendance and civic engagement this evening. Candidates, do we have any questions before we begin?
No, we're all right. Thank you.
Perfect. If our timers are ready, we'll move into a 3-minute introduction for Mr. Wilson whenever you're ready.
Wonderful. Well, it's good to be here with you all tonight. My name is Isaiah Wilson. I'm running to be student body president. I grew up in Pewaukee, Wisconsin. I was a wrestler for a long time. Decided to come to the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. As it said in my bio, I took a year away. I moved south to Raleigh, North Carolina to sell pest control, and then opened up a home service business in South Carolina in Charleston. It was a wild 9 to 10 months. I finished my time down there. I came back to school at UW-Whitewater because I love it here. I love the shared governance system. I love how valued it feels on this campus. And that's kind of what we've based our campaign around. So tonight you'll hear us talk about a seat at the table a lot. That's the slogan of the campaign. I'll put a call to action very early on. If you would indulge me throughout the debate, open up Instagram, go to Vote Wilson Linneman, and you can learn all about what that means to us. I'm sure we'll talk about it a lot today, but we also have 3 priorities, those being a strong voice for student engagement, an accessible and transparent student government, and future-focused decision-making. We'll dive into all of those today, but to give you a short rundown of each, a strong voice for student engagement means to us whether it's org recognition, those orgs getting funding through the SUFAC process, or how those orgs interact with campus as student activities and involvement as a department, right? Making sure that all those students who are involved have a strong voice in that involvement. The second is an accessible and transparent student government. What that means to us is students deserve to know how decisions are being made and how to be involved with them if they'd like to be. And then the third, future-focused decision-making. The 2 things you'll hear us talk a lot about tonight are AI and affordability, but essentially that covers a lot of the external work we want to do for students into the future, meaning the next year, but also long after our term ends. Thank you very much. Well, that won't be necessary. Thank you, though.
Yeah, so hi, my name is Paige Linneman. I'm currently running for the Student Body Vice President. Like what Doug said, I am a junior currently majoring in marketing with an emphasis in artificial intelligence overview. And I recently just added that certification of experiential sports marketing. But outside of that, I grew up in Burlington, Wisconsin, which is about 45 minutes south from here, so not too far, close to home. But I just grew up playing a lot of club volleyball competitively and sand volleyball as well, so just a very active person growing up. And the reason why I came to Whitewater is, one, knowing for their business school. We have one of the best programs in the state, so I can't really blame that by any means. A lot of great opportunities here, especially the corporate partners as well that they offer here. But outside of that, I'm very excited to be running for this position, and I feel Isaiah and I have a lot to bring to the table. So thank you.
Thank you. We're now going to move into our questions. We have 8 pre-prepared questions, and then we'll be taking questions from the audience. Again, questions are 2 minutes per candidate. And as we move into questions, I'd appreciate if we can hold our applause till after both candidates have made their closing statements. Okay? Mr. Wilson, the first question goes to you. Argue that a president or vice president must work well with the chancellor and other executive tier leaders in order to represent students successfully. Oftentimes, discussions had amongst this group are confidential in nature. How will you be sure that students are being represented if you cannot consult your cabinet, advisor, or content experts?
That's a great question. And if I'm being honest, I think it's something that I've grown a lot with over the last year or so. I'm the kind of person, I mean, almost everyone out in the audience today has been or is in student government. So I think a lot of folks know that when I'm making a decision, I frequently turn to the folks to my left or to my right and say, like, hey, what should I do here? And as time has gone on and as I've developed as a leader, I think one of the most important things I've grown to learn is that as you become a content expert in different spaces, right, you're never going to be a specialist if you're, the leader. But you can become a great generalist and you'll know enough. So I think in terms of strategies to make sure that you effectively represent students in places where you're not the specialist, it's making sure that you're frequently touching base with the folks on your team who have that content knowledge, right? So that when the chancellor says, hey, this conversation can't leave this room, which Doug's absolutely right, that is something that you deal with as executives. You go, okay, I totally understand that. Thank gosh, I already have this backlog of content. I already know what my specialists have told me, and I already know how to use that information to best represent students. And like I said, that's at the heart of the campaign, right? We want to make sure that even in all the places where students can't be physically, their voices are represented in those spaces. And I think Paige can go into a little bit about how right. It's not just knowing that content specialty, but kind of being present and making sure that we're in those spaces with students so that we're learning those things. So, Paige.
Yeah, so just like what Isaiah said, I feel right now our student body vice president and president do a really good job of being present in a way And with Isaiah and I, our main goal is being present, not only, like right now, I am the director of communications, so just being able to communicate with the students on campus is something that is very important to us, keeping them up to date. But with Isaiah and I, we really want to take that to the next level, and not only being there in the social media platform way, but also being there in person, showing up to their organizations, their meetings, their events, and showing them that we're there in the present way, and hearing their concerns and thoughts and taking those into action, and changing our campus for the better with the ideas that they have for us. So.
Thank you. Question 2 is going to start with Paige. WSG represents all students, but voter turnout in WSG elections is often quite low. Why should students trust a government elected by such a small percentage of the student body? And how will you engage students who feel disconnected from student government or campus leadership?
Yeah, so, well, with the students that do vote for us, obviously what we are supporting in a way, they do feel the same way towards us. And with Isaiah and I feel like we've done a good job of reaching out to different organizations here on campus. And not only in that type of way, but also hearing that if we did take office, what concerns do you have for this campus? What would you like to see as a change? So we already have a lot of stuff already in process of things that we already want to look into, of concerns that we already heard from the fellow students here on campus. So with not only taking that, but taking that to the next level after the whole election is something that is very important to us. And Isaiah, you can go.
I think this gets to the heart of probably my favorite question to be asked while we're out campaigning, which is, if you're the only folks on the debate stage, if you're the only folks on the ballot, if you're the only slate I'm going to see, why should I vote? You're probably going to get elected anyways. And that's my favorite question to hear, because I think it speaks to what we're trying to do. So if only the people who are sitting out in front of us right now vote, right, we'll get maybe 45 votes. And the message that'll tell is to other students, to the chancellor, to administration, is, yeah, not a lot of folks support what these people are doing. But if we go above and beyond, if we get more votes than last year, if we get more votes than the year before that, if we're lucky enough to get more votes than any other slate in history, I think what that says to students, what that says to the chancellor, what that says to the administration is lots of students support the work that they're doing. So I see campaigning, I see this kind of early groundwork process as a part of the work. It delivers us a mandate so that when we enter those conversations, we can say, these are the things that students have supported. These are the promises we've been making from day one, right? We've been talking about student engagement. We've been talking about a transparent student government. We've been talking about the issues that are going to affect students into the future. And we want to continue to have those conversations long after the election. So I guess I would push back against the question maybe even a little, and I would say I think there are going to be lots of folks who come out. I think we are going to see a larger percentage of campus vote than ever before, and I'm excited to see that turn out.
Question 3 goes to you, Isaiah. The effectiveness of your administration will depend heavily on the performance of your directors. What are 3 concrete expectations you will set for your directors in their first 30 days, and how will you evaluate whether they are meeting them?
3 concrete expectations. You know, I think 3 words come to mind specifically. I'm going to steal 3, and then Paige will have to struggle to find 3 more. But I think, to me, the first one is culture. When we're interviewing, the first thing I want to know, I don't know if anyone's a Dave Ramsey fan out there, but Dave Ramsey is an old financial management guy. He used to do a radio show. He does a podcast now. And he says he would never trust anyone in executive tier leadership that he couldn't give a company debit card to. And I feel the exact same way. The folks that we have on our team, we need to trust. We need to trust that they agree with the goals and that they agree with the culture. So I need to know that they're aligned personally, that they feel the same passion towards serving students that Paige and I do. So the first one is culture. I would say the second one is I need to see some work ethic. I need to see that you can get the job done, right? It's important to me. We spend long hours in the office. We spend long hours outside of the office. I need to know that you're willing to put that time in because that's the time that students deserve. And the third thing is, I think something that we've seen, something that I wouldn't have expected to see in kind of my last 2 years in leadership in the organization is I want to make sure that you prioritize yourself when you can. Make sure that you like my bio said, I like watching films. I like rolling jujitsu when I have the time. I don't have as much time to do those things now as maybe I wish I did. But finding a little time in the day to prioritize you means that when you're ready to come back to work and when you're ready to put those long hours in again, you'll be refreshed, you'll be ready, and you'll be willing to engage in the culture that we set up front. So those are the three things.
Yeah, so for my first one, I would definitely say it would be goal-driven in a way. I would really like for the executives to have those high goals, and yeah, some of them may be pretty high and you may fail, but at the end of the day, it's all about a learning experience and growing from those. And at the end of the day, you don't know what you can achieve unless you try. So overall, just setting those high goals for yourself and just seeing how far you can go. And also motivation, just being motivated, being able to wake up, especially with the director of communications job. I wake up every day and I'm like, I love my job because it's not only benefiting myself, but it's benefiting all the students here on campus, the work that I do. So being motivated with the work that you do, I think that goes really far just to see how you grow as an individual. And then also leadership, just because so many students are looking up to you, just because we are the voice for the students here on campus. So overall, just being a good leader and just showing good, just overall being a good student and a hard worker.
Next question goes to you, Paige. WSG executive officers serve short, one-year terms, but institutional reforms can take years. What steps will you take so that WSG priorities can continue after your administration ends?
I can take it if you need.
Isaiah can take it from here on this one.
So I think this is like the heart of our third priority. So when we talk about future-focused decision-making, we're not just talking about decisions that affect students right now. We're talking about decision-making that's going to affect students now and after we're gone, right? So there are kind of two big things that we talk about under that umbrella. One of them is AI, one of them is affordability. But I think just in terms of a broad decision-making kind of scaffolding, right, it's understanding that some things you're going to get the ball rolling on. So how do we make sure that work's going to continue? We change culture from top down in the organization. We say these things that we're working on, we're passionate about. These issues are not going to go away when we're done. We set goals to finish them before we leave. That would be great too. But some of those things just won't happen. But there will be the glory of a 4-year structure for lots of folks in college, or a 5-year structure, or whatever that looks like to you, is there are folks out in the audience today who will outlive us in WSG years. And hopefully we can inspire in them passion to continue working on these very same things that we are going to prioritize into the next year.
Thank you. Question 5 goes to Isaiah. Student safety is a much discussed and debated topic on campus. How will you address student safety concerns, including but not limited to stair and road, campus lighting, policing, and others?
That's a great question. I think it's multifaceted, but I think something that I think folks in WSG might not put as much stress onto as maybe we should, is understanding how much of campus safety is related to the city ecosystem that we live in, and not just the university ecosystem that we live in. So stair and road got mentioned in the question, right? A lot of the progress we've seen on stair and road is because of work that's being done on the city level. So being able to leave the echo chamber that we might be in sometimes as a university, step into a common council meeting, walk up to the microphone and say, hey, students really, they're being affected by stair and road not being as safe as it should be. And then, you have to continue advocating for those students to your councilman. But I think prioritizing things on the city level is super important, and realizing that a lot of those safety decisions aren't just navigated through the campus ecosystem. And then in terms of how the things that are navigated on the campus, it's continuing. At the end of our campaign launch video, we said we have a seat at the table because of the work of lots of folks that came before us. We're lucky enough to have great leaders like Doug, who have occupied the executive offices in this organization for a long time, who have made amazing connections with university stakeholders. It's continuing to nurture those connections so that folks take us seriously when we say, hey, the lights are turning off, folks don't feel safe walking home. I need you to do something about it. And when you're at a close enough level where you can walk into those offices and say with respect, but with students in mind, and hey, these things need to change. So I think on a campus level, it's talking about how do we make those decisions with the relationships that we already have.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like Isaiah really touched on the points, the main points that we honestly wanted to talk about. And like what he said is just, some of that is like with campus and some of it is with the city around us. But like what he said is just being the present and being there to advocate for the students, especially when they have these concerns. But Isaiah really touched on the main points on that one.
Question 6 is going to go to Paige. Please explain the segregated fee process. What responsibilities do the WSG president and vice president have to ensure students understand how segregated fees are requested, recommended, and approved?
Okay. So yeah, NALT is the non-allocable leadership team. They're the group of students who work to allocate the non-allocable dollars that students pay for different school departments here on campus. And with Isaiah and I, our main goal is just to remember that every student dollar we allocate needs to go to serving the students here in an overall.
Thank you. I think, right, NALT is kind of particularly how the vice president and president interact with the segregated fee process. Right now, I serve as the Speaker of the Senate for Student Government. And in that process, I serve as an ex officio member of SUFAC. By no means do I go to every meeting, but I'm looped in on those emails. And I think it's important to have a holistic understanding of the process. But, you know, I think Paige explained the non-allocable side well. The allocable side remains important to us, right? SUFAC as a committee, making sure that when they get together, they're making the right decisions. I think it's good that there's some distance between the president and vice president as an office and the SUFAC process. What that shows is it's trust in the SUFAC committee, it's trust in the Senate when that process goes through the Senate, and then obviously, there's some oversight that needs to happen. So of any process that happens under the watch of our administration and the organization, we want to make sure that there's good stewardship happening. But at least in my time, man, has some great stewardship happened in terms of student dollars. So it's just something we hope to continue doing. It's something I think we're excited to do. So obviously, NALT is kind of how we're most directly connected. But I personally admire some of the great stewardship that the folks around SUFAC have been doing. So,
Question 7 goes to Isaiah. Recently, Chancellor King, after consultation with the Strategic Planning and Budget Committee, announced that the current strategic plan will be extended to 2030. Which of the 4 themes of the current strategic plan resonates most with your platform?
I don't know. No idea. If you have them, yeah, that'd be wonderful.
The 4 themes are enhance the value of UW Whitewater education, create an inclusive environment for student success, advance co-curricular experiences, and deepen a culture of collaboration.
I think the co-curricular experiences one, I mean, this is me going right off hearing them right away, but I think when I hear about co-curriculars, I think this is a super important discussion. I currently serve on the co-curricular committee, and what we do is we try to, our charge right now is to find a definition for what a co-curricular experience is. And I think we talk a lot about on the executive level why a definition for that is important. because what it does is it allows us to market to prospective students and other universities how great our university is. And that's important for sure. But I think from a student representation perspective, why it's important is what a co-curricular is offers a lot of insulation around a student. It's much harder to take a co-curricular from a student than it is an extracurricular student if we're talking about possible misconduct. So I think finding a concrete definition and then putting a lot of effort into making sure that students are engaging in those things, that speaks to the first priority of ours, student engagement. You know, I think that that's a super important part of the process. So just off of hearing them, I think the third one resonates with me most. Sure.
Yeah, to tag off with Isaiah on that one, with what he said, with our first priority, with a strong voice for students, engagement. One priority for us is doing, like, bringing Greek life more into the student government, just with everything. I feel like they can bring a lot of benefit, a lot of new opinions, a lot of new thoughts and ideas, and overall, opening up to a new organization like that, I think could be really beneficial.
Thank you both. Final question of the prepared questions before I get into audience questions goes to Paige. What do you interpret the responsibilities of the student body president and vice president to be based on Wisconsin State Statute 3609, Section 5?
I didn't hear what was the middle?
What do you interpret the responsibilities of the student body president and vice president to be based on Wisconsin State Statute 3609, Section 5?
I can take it.
I'll give it to Isaiah.
So based on the state statute itself, if you would yet again indulge me to a call to action, if you go to the Vote Wilson Linneman Instagram page, the very first part of our launch video has us talking about that state statute 36. And what it says is that students have the right to organize in whatever way they see fit. The way we've done that on this campus is through student government. And they serve as the primary representatives for all decisions that impact students. The way I interpret that is, I think exactly what the tagline of our campaign is. It's a seat at the table, right? So it's great. You know, if we get elected, we'll be able to go into meetings and that'll feel really cool for us. But I think the reason we prioritize that term, a seat at the table, is to remind us that our primary responsibility is to represent the folks that we have been given legal power, legal precedent to go into meetings and represent. And I'm glad that that state statute was mentioned because it's what allows us to say that we think all students deserve a seat at the table, that all of those voices deserve to be represented.
Thank you. We are in audience questions, and the first one goes to Mr. Wilson. Various student organizations have asked for better support and discrimination on campus, specifically with regarding the educational hate bias form. If elected, how would your slate work to ensure accountability, transparency, and meaningful student involvement in the bias response process?
That's a great question. I want to call out a specific student organization that I think puts a ton of work in, LIT. I see some, I know we're not supposed to clap, but can we clap it up for LIT real quick? So I mean, the first thing we do, and I think what's important, and I would put an open invite out if you'd be willing to meet with us. I think the first thing we can do and the most important thing we can do is touch base with those student organizations. Say, hey, these are the folks that feel affected. I can talk about some of the work tangibly that I think we've been doing, that we've done. I think elevating the visibility of those reporting forms is important, right? So getting them on the university website, getting them on Connect. These are some things that we are doing, have been doing. And I think apart from that, right, tomorrow I'll be campaigning for 24 hours. So I'm by no means am I against grassroots methods in making sure that these things are communicated. So I think making sure that sometimes like dining has done wonderful at this as of late. When dining makes changes, dining sends folks to a table and they have people who work for dining telling students about those changes. And I think when we make changes on the institutional level, like some of the changes we've made on Connect 2 and on the university website, right? When we make those changes, I think sometimes making sure that there are folks in the UC at a table saying, these are the changes we've made. I think that's like a real grassroots way of ensuring that students know and the students feel the changes we've made. I just talked a lot and I didn't leave Paige much to say, so I feel bad, but.
No, it's okay. Touched all the points. But just to keep it brief, just like what I said prior in a previous question, is just being more present, not just on social media, but honestly being there present for the students on campus, for the different organizations, because we want them to know that we hear them, we see them, and we want to support them as best as we can. And we want to make those changes for them to benefit everyone on this campus.
Second audience question goes to Paige. Do you have a plan for helping to alleviate rising fees and the cost for students?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Isaiah would actually love to take this. I'm not going to lie. This is something he's really passionate about. So go right ahead.
So yeah, this is when we talk about future focused decision making, this is what we're talking about. Affordability is like a key priority for the campaign. And gosh, when I talked earlier about why I love being asked, why is it important to vote, even though you're the only two folks in the election. It's this kind of stuff. It's the stuff that is hard. It's the stuff that is going to be hard to convince administration to take a look at. And nobody likes when folks start asking for dollars, because nobody in this economy has lots of dollars, right? So it's a priority of our campaign to take a look at eliminating, reducing, consolidating every single student fee. I think the only one we know that we can't take a look at in that regard is commencement. But there's work to be done. As the dollar stretches less and less far, it is important that all of those things are looked at. So taking a look at distance ed fees, taking a look at things like your housing deposit. So when you sign a housing contract with the university, you give a deposit, making sure that students can get that money back. Making sure that when students don't use all their dining dollars, that they can prioritize ways to get that money back, right? There are lots of ways that we can figure out how to make student dollars stretch further for them. And what I'm asking of you, what I would ask of you, and what I would, if you'd be willing, what I would ask you to tell your friends to do is to vote for us, because we need a mandate to engage in those conversations with administrators. And man, those are hard conversations to engage in. But I think if we get enough support, we really can go leaps and bounds in making progress there. But I love that question. Thank you.
As a note to the audience, we are still accepting questions. Perfect. That was not planned. Thank you, Kim. So please keep submitting questions by the codes on your table.
Specific, it's fine.
Our third audience question goes to Mr. Wilson. How do you hold yourself accountable, and how do you correct your mistakes?
What was something mistakes? What did you say? How do I correct? How do I hold myself accountable? Gosh, that's a great question. If I'm being honest, I've learned that I'm a pretty socially motivated guy. The opinions of others, I guess sometimes affect me maybe more than they should. I've really tried to reframe that in a way that's particularly helpful for my development as a person and as a leader. So the way I do it is I keep people around me who are willing to call me out on my stuff, if you know what I mean. There are a few of those people in this room who I really value in some of the work I do on campus right now. I'm sure some of you have seen that Doug and I can disagree on topics a lot. And a priority of our administration, but also just the rest of my life, is making sure that I'm always surrounding myself with people who are willing to say, like, Isaiah, you got this thing way wrong. You're just off, man. Because I'm off a lot. I make mistakes a ton. And when I don't understand the things I'm working on, I want somebody to say, like, hey, you're off. And I guess how do I correct those mistakes is I listen to them and I take those things with grace as best I can. Sometimes I'm better at it, sometimes I'm worse. But I think making sure you don't have yes people around you who just want to leech from you. I think making sure that you have people who are willing to hold you accountable, but are also committed to the same goals.
Yeah, to go off what Isaiah said with surrounding yourself with people, I really like to surround myself with people who are motivated and goal-driven. With me, I do set high goals for myself, maybe some that I may not reach one day, but it's always in the back of my mind. I'll never forgive myself if I don't set those high goals and don't at least try. Yeah, you may fail, and yeah, it may suck, but at the end of the day, it's a learning lesson and you grow from it as an individual. It helps you grow your leadership. So, with surrounding yourself with people who are also motivated and who are also goal driven, and like what Isaiah said, aren't just yes people, because how is that going to allow you to grow as an individual and into new environments in a way? So, really just pushing yourself. And with when I fail or when I get comments from people, I do take them into consideration because some people may view me in a different way. And overall, I just want myself to be my absolute best for everyone and for myself.
Thank you. Question goes to Ms. Linneman. How will you remain impartial when interacting with all students of our student population?
Well, personally, I am the director of communications for the Whitewater Student Government, so I feel I'm very neutral with everyone, with just being able to reach as many students as I can on this campus the best I can, whether that is through our Instagram Reels, or TikTok, through our outreach events or collaborative events that we do with Lit. Our main goal is really just trying to reach as many students as we possibly can and allow their voices to be heard, not with only within our organization, but with everyone else here.
It's a good question. I'm really thinking about it. Um, I see myself as a pretty impartial person naturally, but I'm thinking about specific strategies I might use. I think one that comes to mind right away is widening the amount of opinions you can find. I think I would be lying if I told you like I'm gonna stay impartial all the time. I don't know who wrote the question, but like I think I would be lying to you if I said that I'm just gonna stay impartial every time. So what I think I will do, what I can promise to you that I'll do, is I'll surround myself with people who are willing to disagree with me, who are willing to say, Isaiah, you're not looking at this impartially. And I don't just mean the team that we're gonna hire, but another call to action, if you would. You're good, brother. If you'd be so willing to take a look at the Instagram page. We've been doing endorsements Fridays with a bunch of different student organizations. So it's not just the team that we set, it's the student organizations that we touch base with, the other student leaders. You can't remove bias entirely, but by widening the amount of voices you hear, you can start to have a better understanding of the full context, I think would be my answer.
Perfect. Question goes to you, Mr. Wilson. What do you feel qualifies you to lead and represent the student body of UW Whitewater?
It's a good question. I think I find difficulty with this question because I feel very qualified from from a practical perspective. I guess I could talk about like some of my life experience. I could talk about my WSG experience. I guess if there's anything I would be asking of you, in terms of like assessing my character or why I might be qualified, I would be asking you to trust my judgment, and to trust my heart. I know that sounds cheesy. I'm not trying to be cheesy, but like uh, I think I really try to put an ear to the ground when I'm making decisions. I really try to value different perspectives. And man, I think that rings through a lot of the decisions I make. So, I mean, if you want like one tangible example of that, because I don't like when, not that we're really politicians, but I don't like when politicians just say like, trust my heart. So I'll give an example. For the last like 3 years, pretty regularly, I go to both the college Republicans and the college Democrats meetings. And I used to do that with like a crew of people. And I started doing that this semester, and I'm the only one who goes to both now. And I'm not trying to say that that means I'm like, I'm really into politics. I'm not saying that makes me like mightier than thou, but I just think if you want a tangible example of how I really try to like engage with different perspectives, I mean, there are countless places where I disagree with the college Democrats, and there are countless places where I disagree with the college Republicans. But I continue to go because I value those folks. And I think if there's anything I would want in a qualified leader, it's that I know that when I need their ear, even if they hate the thing I'm about to say, they're willing to listen to me.
Yeah, so with me, I feel like with this campus and everything, I am very involved. I try getting as involved as I can as many different organizations. Like what I said, I've been the director of communications here, and I absolutely love this position that I hold. Outside of that, I'm in Delta Zeta sorority. I've been in 3 different committees there, which is the programming committee, public relations committee, new member ed committee. So in that new member ed committee, I've helped new members grow within our sorority and find their place. And with me, I'm a very collaborative person. With the committee that I chair for the communications, my goal is to collaborate as much as I can with my senators. I want them to feel involved. I want them to feel that what they're doing is making a difference, because it is. It really is. They're impacting a lot of students here on campus. And I just love getting new thoughts, new opinions from my senators to help me improve my posts, get more engagement, stuff like that. So with me, for being qualified and stuff, I just want to be a collaborative leader. I want people to know that they can come up to me. I am very approachable. I want to know your thoughts. I want to know your opinions, because from there, like, I want to take that and I want to make that change for you. And I want you guys to feel heard. So overall, I'm just being more present. So
That's a really good question, whoever wrote that.
yes, thank you.
Perfect. Question goes to Ms. Linneman. What will you do about student, food, and housing insecurity?
Food and housing affordability.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, I think we've touched on it a lot, but I can talk about it.
I feel like we touched on it, but if you want to add anything
Yeah.
else to it.
I mean, I think in terms of food insecurity, like if I were to be honest, right, food insecurity and housing insecurity, these are they fall under the umbrella of affordability in my mind. These are not, you know, we could target those things specifically. I'm not saying that the struggles that folks who are facing housing insecurity or food insecurity aren't worth facing. You know, I've had lots of family in that position. I have lots of friends in that position. We have lots of campus services that are set up to do that. I think if you're asking specifically about what our administration is going to do, we're going to go one step above that. And we're going to say, how can we make sure that your dollar as a student stretches as far as possible? And we're going to do that through the student fee evaluating that I was talking about earlier. What student fees can we condense and consolidate? What student fees can we reduce or eliminate? And what student fees are being used great, and how can we broadcast that in a more transparent way so we make sure that you know where your dollars are going? Maybe that's a cop-out answer, but I think talking about affordability broadly is the best way to handle some of the more detailed minutia elements of affordability issues.
This question goes to you, Mr. Wilson. Will you try and make a push for more on-campus parking or make current parking more affordable? If so, what's your plan?
I'm pretty inexperienced. I would say the both of us are pretty inexperienced in regard to parking reform, and I think we're lucky to be inexperienced in that regard, because we've had really good stewards of parking reform. When I first came to campus, parking was a massive issue. And I think, I'm not trying to say parking is perfect by any means now, but I think we've done a lot of good ground in terms of parking. There are a few small issues that I found on the way while we were campaigning to get signatures, right? I remember one story in particular. I met a gentleman in Esker and his roommate who, you know, are trying to go through the process within a room of getting one of their cars on campus that of one roommate, and one roommate sold their car. So I think there's probably steps to be taken in terms of, if you live in the same room, if you're trying to get your pass from one person to another, I feel like there's probably easier ways to facilitate that than we do now. But I'm severely inexperienced in that regard, and the last thing I want to do on the debate stage is start talking out of my behind. So if that's like a super concerning issue to you, it's not something we run into as much now as we used to. That was an audience submitted question. If that's something that's important to you, come talk to us after the debate, because I'd love to hear what your particular experience with parking is. I think there's routes we can go for commuter parking as well. But yeah, I mean, I would love to hear what you have to say about that.
Yeah, like what Isaiah said, if that really is like an issue for someone out in the audience or on the WebEx, please come and talk to us. Oh,
It's not about the WebEx.
yes. Oh, yeah. WebEx. Because personally, I do live off campus, only a block, so I don't really have to deal with the parking situation. So I don't really have much to say on that because I don't know much about it. But whoever this is affecting, please come and talk to us because we like to take steps from here to figure out a solution for you.
This question goes to Ms. Linneman. How are you prepared to deal with situations when students feel that campus administrators don't have their best interests at heart?
Answered. Answers cabinet. Got it.
Wait, can you just repeat it one more time?
How are you prepared to deal with situations when students feel that campus administrators don't have their best interests at heart?
Mhm. Yeah. Honestly, it's just like with what what our priorities are is just having that strong voice for students here on campus. And if the students are feeling this way, come to talk to us. We like to hear that. We like to see what's going on. And then from there, we can take that further into our hands and talk to the chancellor and try finding solutions, but just coming and talking to us because we are open people and we want to hear your concerns.
This is a difficult question to navigate. If I'm getting to the heart of the question, it's how do you make somebody feel like you're working on the things that matter to them when they don't feel that right now? Um, and man, that's a hard thing to do. That's a difficult thing to do because sometimes the truth of the matter is somebody goes, "Hey, you know, dining remains to be one of the big problems that student government faces, right? Like in terms of constituents talking to us, it's always about the food. But I think if you measure uh, the progress that student government has made in terms of how we've made dining better, but also just like the great work that Chartwell's is doing in relation to Warhawk Dining, if you lay out that data, I think students go like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't realize, I guess, how much work has been done there." So I think two things: reminding them of the work you're currently doing to solve their problems if they feel like administrators aren't listening to them, and then maybe the second thing is reminding them that I think one of the reasons I came back to school here is because of how robust and strong our shared governance system is. I'm not sure how this would land on the ears of a constituent who felt that way, but tell them, I think this really does matter to administration. And I know it's hard to see or feel right now, but gosh, is that true, in almost every interaction I've had.
Mr. Wilson, this question goes to you. How do you incorporate feedback in your personal and professional life?
I think I've gone on this a lot. I don't want to like overdo the I listen to people uh, line here, but man, I think you might even call it a downside of mine. The current deputy speaker, Nick Patricus, is back there. We had the parliamentarian Purnell here just a moment ago. I think these people would tell you, gosh, Isaiah, he's too easy to convince sometimes. I see Nick nodding back there. How do I receive feedback? Normally pretty dang well. I like to make decisions when I feel like uh, I'm addressing all of the ears and the mouths in the room. So I think, how do I prioritize that? It's surrounding myself with people who are willing to tell me, "Hey man, you've got it wrong," but also people with new and innovative ideas in terms of problem solving. Yeah, I think incorporating feedback is like your number one priority as a leader. If you're not doing that, you're probably not a very effective leader, particularly in the long term.
Yeah, so I'll be upfront. I love feedback. I love it. With my job, with being the director of communications, with the committee that I chair with my senators, I get feedback all the time on my graphics. Even so, this past week with one of the senators, Danny, I'm gonna call you out. Him and I sat in on office even after my committee meeting happened, and we sat for another hour just designing graphics, just collaborating with one another. And with the feedback that he gave me, we were able to really come down to some really good designs, and just showing, like, collaborating and getting that feedback allowed us to work more as a team, which I feel is really important. And with feedback, you really just grow from it, just depending on the way that you take it and the way that I take it. It's people just trying to help me and trying to give me some guidance. So why not allow them to give that? So.
Thank you. Questions for you, Ms. Linneman. What is an unpopular decision you would be willing to make for the good of the student body, and why?
It's a good question. Is it Mo? Is it me? Is it no? I'm so sorry. I cut you off. Sorry, I got excited. Yeah, I think that's a wow, great answer.
I have a great answer to this, actually. Great answer. Something I'm passionate about, but some people may be against it, is the growing of AI. Like what I said, I have my emphasis in artificial intelligence overview. So I'm currently in AI classes. So my day-to-day is learning about AI and how it's growing and how it is taking over some jobs nowadays in society. But with AI, I really think that our campus professors should start taking it more into consideration with allowing it in class, not in the way of students taking it to their advantage, but using it in a way to help them grow their knowledge with the certain topics. And with the classes that I do use AI in, personally, it has helped me grow my knowledge, has helped me expand on the different thoughts with everything, just because AI, it definitely thinks in a different way compared to the humans. So I definitely want to start incorporating AI more into our future, because overall, I think it could benefit our campus in a way if we use it towards the right direction with our students.
It was a great answer from Paige. Probably
Thank
going to be
you.
better than my answer. I think the AI stuff is a great answer. I think maybe I'll go from a more like, Doug said in my bio that I'm kind of a philosophy nerd. So I think I'm going to take this question a little bit more broadly, right? So I wonder, and I guess I would pose this question back to y'all. I do this on the Senate floor a lot. When something is unpopular enough, should we be doing it? You know, if a decision we've made is remarkably unpopular, you might just have to admit that to yourself in your heart. I have made the wrong decision in student government. Lots. It happens. Want to know how I know oftentimes that it's the wrong decision? The people around me, my constituents, the leaders that I serve with, they go like, whoa, dude, you did the wrong thing. That seems unpopular to me. So I think the first thing you do is you go, well, maybe it's unpopular for a reason. But I guess I'll take the question and say, let's say I believe in it still and it's unpopular. How do you continue to make decisions that you think are right even when they're unpopular? I hate to give a current example, but we have lots of senators in the room, so I think it's pertinent. Let's say there is an interpretation of the standing rules that I make as speaker. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. I think if it's true to my heart, I can promise you, and the senators in the room know this, if it's true to my heart, I can't budge. We'll figure out ways to ensure that the right thing happens regardless. But if I feel something deep in here, yeah, you got to be able to trust that. That's hopefully if you elect us, right? That's what you're electing us to do, is represent you with our best judgment. And I hope you would trust my judgment even when you think it's unpopular. I hope you would trust that I really do have your best interest in heart.
Thank you. Before I proceed, I'd like to extend a special thank you to Professor Eric Lepp for joining us this evening. This is an audience question, and I hope it's okay if I do this. Can I dedicate it to Professor Lepp?
Oh, please do.
Professor Lepp, this question is dedicated to you. Thank you for being here this evening. The question goes to Isaiah Wilson. How will you embrace the faculty of UW-Whitewater?
That's a great question. We can embrace right now. If you get on stage, we can embrace. Yeah, let's embrace. I'm gonna let Paige answer, and I'm gonna use the time. So Paige can talk about how we're gonna go to Faculty Senate, how we're gonna send folks to Faculty Senate. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk about how Eric Lepp is the reason that, like, a huge reason that I came back. So when I got on a WebEx with Eric Lepp, who's my academic advisor, we talked for like 45 minutes. And when I talked earlier about why shared governance is important to me, why I came back, it's because of the people at this university. Like, this is a shining example of the way you can use your position, whether it's as an advisor, as a student leader, as student body president or student body vice president, to change the direction of somebody's academic career. Is get in there, talk to them about why they love it here, why they hate it here. Talk to them about, I know this isn't related to the question at all, but I just think this is a perfect opportunity to talk about how, as leaders, we can change the trajectory of people's lives. Paige, you can talk about how we're going to send people to Faculty Senate.
Yeah, so I'm gonna kind of like put that aside for a second but kind of go off of Isaiah with like the connections that we have with the faculty here. Personally, like a story on my end, this one faculty member that I had, Brandon Miles, business finance professor, because of him, I have gained so much confidence within myself. His class, obviously business finance, if anyone is business majors, very hard class. And I was struggling and he noticed that, but he saw I showed up to class every day. I took notes, I studied, and he saw the hard work that I was putting in. And at the end of the day, my grade wasn't paying off. So he met with me and he was like, I see what you're doing. I see the work you're putting in. Like, if you keep doing this, like, you will succeed. So with the bond that we have between the faculty members and the students here, I deeply appreciate it, because hearing those words come out of his mouth, it did give me a lot of confidence. So with being able to maintain that not alliance,
Relationship.
that relationship between the faculty and your students, I think you have two people up here who have a very deep connection with the faculty. And I know for sure I will be going to those meetings and supporting them. I already know faculty members that I will be nominating for instructor awards. That came out, shout out Olivia. So don't you worry, that is something that will not be going away. And I will definitely be going into that right away. So.
Thank you both, and thank you, Professor Lepp, for being here this evening. This question goes to Paige. How will you connect students with their local representatives since you are wanting to engage more on a city level?
I can take it. I talked about the city stuff.
As I say, you talked about it.
Yeah, I mean, can you say the first part of the question? Is it students or student government?
Question.
How will you connect students more with their local representation since you are wanting to engage more at a city level?
I'm going to do a classic politician move. I'm kind of going to dodge that. I don't think that's a burden that we particularly need to put on the general student. I would never ask a student to show up to a common council meeting. Tell me what your story is. Write it down for me. I will go to common council. I will deal with the councilman. We have folks in student government who love to go to common council. How will we continue to engage in a city level? Is we'll continue to be interested. If folks feel unsafe on Stern Road, we will show up to common council and we will say students feel unsafe on Stern Road. I think Will Hins told me 3 years ago, don't force students to do things that they don't want to do. So if Will Hins watches this, shout out Will Hins. But man, don't put students in positions that they might not want to be in. So if you want to go advocate for yourself on the city level, I will set you up with robust ways and strategies to go do that. But if you don't, tell me. I'd love to go for you.
As a point of clarification, there's a camera up in the rafters here. He's not pointing to the heavens or Will Hins, actually, but
Will Hins is okay to my best knowledge.
pointing to our recording this evening. Mr. Wilson, another question for you. How will you better serve underrepresented demographics in our student population?
This is a great question. I'm going to let Paige talk about the meeting we had right before we came up here. But before that, I would lean back on, look, this is the 4th time I've told you to go to the Instagram. If you haven't gone to the Instagram yet, go to the Instagram. take a look at our highlighted stories. It's Vote Wilson Linneman on Instagram, Vote Wilson Linneman on Instagram, up there, Vote Wilson Linneman on Instagram. Go to the highlighted stories. Those are all the student organizations that we have endorsements from already. Those are not super common student organizations. We got an endorsement from the Computer Machining Association. We've gotten endorsements from, I think, there are classically marginalized voices, Black and brown people, women. Paige will talk about the meeting we just had right after this. But then there are sort of university marginalized voices, people who are in small majors, people who have specific issues. And I think continuing to reach out to those constituencies in particular ways, that's how you make sure that you're touching base with all the folks you need to, even the folks who don't often have a seat at the table. Frozen nice.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so like what Isaiah said, prior to this, we actually met up with a group, Rose and Rise, that actually just came on campus. And let me tell you, wow, what a great group of women. With talking with them, like they had concerns, and they had questions for us. And we told them, we're like, if this really goes through, like, we are going to take those concerns of yours into consideration. And with reaching out to other people here on campus, like what Isaiah already touched on, with endorsements that we got, we've told them, like, even though you're endorsing us now, like, that doesn't mean that this is just a one-time thing and like you won't hear from us again. That's not what we're here for. Like what we said, what we're here for is having a strong voice for all students on campus, for all of them. And we told them, like, after this, like, we are coming back. We want to know your concerns. We want to know what's happening. And we want to make those changes for you because you support us. We are also supporting you all the way through with this.
Thank you. Ms. Linneman's question is for you. What is your favorite campus resource?
Okay. Yeah. So personally, I love with the Roseman, with having so with like mental health and everything like that, I love all the resources we offer. Personally, I have went to Roseman and I have had some one-on-one sessions, and overall I thought it was really beneficial. The people there, there's so many resources for students on campus. It definitely helped me feel like that I wasn't alone when I thought I was at some times. I feel like that resource is something that can benefit all students here. There's so much that they offer, so many different things. So yeah, really all the mental health stuff that we offer here on campus is truly amazing, which I didn't know about until I actually reached out, and everything that they offered me, I was like, wow, this is absolutely amazing what we have on this campus.
It's so hard to pick just one.
Yeah, no, it really is.
I would be totally remiss. I might even be fired if I didn't mention the library. I work at the Anderson Library. It is raining outside right now. If you're like, oh, shoot, I forgot an umbrella, the Anderson Library has umbrellas for you. That's how deep the resources of the library go. Explore the library. There are conference rooms in places you didn't know there were conference rooms. There are books on things that you didn't know there were books on. Go to the library. Other stuff. The cheapest, I normally like to gatekeep this, but I'll let it go. The cheapest beverages on campus are at the bookstore vending machine. Man, I mean, if you're willing to take the walk, or if you're near, or if you're going to class from Esper side of campus, cheapest vending machine on campus is at the bookstore. Don't forget about that. I really like some of the rec sports stuff. Like we talked about jujitsu a little bit. I rolled for the first time in months just the other week, and man, did it feel good just to be on the mats again. It's cheesy. I love the campus. Yeah. Mantra, mental health stuff. There's good stuff. The one stop.
Shout out Oren.
Shout out Oren, one stop.
Amazing.
Oren's also, for the folks on WebEx, Oren's also still with us. He's just back in the booth there.
Well, thank you for giving away our best kept secret about the bookstore beverage prices. Mr. Wilson, this question is for you. The Greek community makes up 700 plus students on campus. How will you ensure that their voices are heard and involve them more on campus?
Do you want to take this?
Give it.
Yeah,
Please.
okay. Paige can take
Please.
it for sure.
Oh my goodness, do I love this question. Let me tell you, even before Isaiah and I decided to go into this election with one another, I have been so passionate about Greek life. Like what I said, I pledged in spring of 2024. And I know there's some other people out here who are also in Greek life as well. And it's not only just an organization, but it really is a community. It's a brotherhood, it's a sisterhood. It's something that I take in a deep consideration, and I know a lot of things that are going on and happening within that community. And here, I want them to have a voice. I want them to feel heard. I don't want them to feel like they're going through things alone. And with Isaiah and I, we are going to make sure after everything that we will be reaching out, because there's people in those organizations that I know that have opinions and thoughts and ideas for us to bring into the student government that I think will not only be beneficial for them, but beneficial to all students on campus. Like what we said, there's over 700 students that are a part of this. And it's people that really benefit our campus, the things that we do with not only service hours, but with philanthropy events and and stuff like that, the money that we raise. It's really an impactful group of students. And I think it, it is something that we are taking into consideration, and changes will happen.
Perfect, thank you. This question goes to Paige. In lot 22, there has been a series of tire slashings. How might you prevent this in the future?
I can take it if.
I guess I say it can take the tire slashing.
So
One.
this is the first I've heard of the
Yeah,
tire
I've
slashing.
heard of that.
Forgive me if it's pretty well renowned, but I think this is a great example of exactly how you can handle a student concern. So whoever out there wrote about the tire slashing, number one, I'm so sorry if your tires got slashed. Number two, let us know. The UW police, I can't say this for sure, but I can almost guarantee that they can do something about it. If they can't do something about it, gosh, we will make sure that we can find you some kind of campus resource to do something about it. And to be a little bit politician-y, to be a little bit on message, we want to do a lot of affordability stuff. So if tires are expensive, if you need new tires, a goal of our administration will be saving you money. Yeah, please come talk to us after this and tell us about your tire slashing story. And honestly,
Yes,
this
we do.
seems like a current issue. Hopefully this doesn't persist into July 1 when we would take office. So tell the student government folks in the room right now about your tire slashing experience, and we'll see what we can do completely irregardless of the election that's going on. Regardless, I'm really trying to work on irregardless and regardless. I mean, regardless of the election that's going on.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. This question goes to you. How will you support the future development of the one-stop office after the phase 2 process seemed, let me start from the top. How will you support the future development of the one-stop office after the phase 2 process seemed to disappear?
Seemed to disappear. That's what the last part of the question says?
After the phase 2 process seemed to disappear.
This is another thing that I'm going to say. If you think the phase 2 process of the one stop seemed to disappear to you, you should come chat with student government. Man, that's so disheartening to hear. I think student government has put a lot of work into ensuring that the one stop is what the one stop sounds like it should be. I can promise you, I'm promising you this. It will be a goal of our administration to ensure that the One Stop lives up to the name that it has, which is being a one stop for student needs, right? I think that there are conversations about placement that we can have. There are conversations about room that we can have. There are conversations about, what phase 2 should look like. I'm so sorry that it seems like phase 2 hasn't gone well. The folks who work up in the one stop right now, Jamie, who does some of the financial literacy stuff up there, is, I mean, I'm not like yielding to the people in the room, but one of the best campus administrators we have. She puts so much work into ensuring that the things that come out of the One Stop, Esther in the One Stop, Orrin in the One Stop. These are like some of the best folks I've seen operate on campus. Man, if you think the One Stop Phase 2 has disappeared, come chat with us and we'll, again, this is nothing to do with July 1. This has to do with right now. You don't have to come talk to Paige and I at all. You have the student body president on stage right here. If you think Phase 2 of the One Stop disappeared, I'm throwing Doug under the bus. Talk to Doug. I'm throwing Doug under the shuttle.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like I don't really have much more to say besides that. What? Oh, no, I was just going to give a shout out to.
Yeah, sure.
I was about to say, I was just going to give a shout out to Orrin. I know Orrin puts a lot of time into the One Stop. There, I think every single day when I go to the WSG office, Orrin is in there sitting at the front desk every single day. A lot of hard time and effort is put in there. And I'm sorry for any students who feel that it's not going the way that they seem to for it to be going. I've personally used a One Stop a few times. And anytime I had a concern, I went there, they answered it right away. It's really beneficial. So like what Isaiah said, though, if this is a concern that's happening right now, please come and talk to us because that's what we're here for.
Thank you. We only have a few questions remaining before going to closing statements. An audience question. This might be my favorite question. Right.
Great, and it's going to me.
Should Drumlin get more spoons for soup, desserts, and other items? Note, many students who eat at this dining location are complaining to me about the lack of spoons.
Wow, that, oh,
Go ahead.
wow, yeah, that's a really serious question, honestly. Yeah, I would say 100% they should be getting more spoons. If there's a lack of spoons for students to be using to be able to use for their soups or preferably ice cream that they have there. I don't know if the ice cream machines are still in there, but for the ice cream machines, yeah, no, that's something that we can definitely look into. I don't see too much of a hassle to be getting more spoons for students here on campus. Maybe it is. Maybe Isaiah can go more into detail on this one, honestly.
We like spoons. We will have more spoons in Drumlin. 4 words, promises made, promises kept.
Thank you, Isaiah.
Thank you both. This question goes to Mr. Wilson. How will you help students compete in this economy?
What a great question. You're teeing me up here for affordability stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to belabor the affordability point. I think we need to take a look at, and this is the line, right? You got to have lines sometimes when you're campaigning. The line is we need to take a look at reducing, consolidating, or eliminating every student fee apart from commencement. How will we make sure that your dollar stretches? I think that's the first place we're going to take a look. Yeah, I mean, I think on a broader sense, and this is now we're kind of into uncharted territory. But when I think about some initiatives that we can push, I think not only the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, but Wisconsin, the United States, is going through economic hardship. So how do we a lot of the student leaders in the room just went to coffee at the Capitol. I think there's work to be done in terms of talking to the state legislature, in terms of talking to our federal officials who have the ability to change policy around how we construct our dollar. By no means is it a priority of our administration to spend time talking to people on the state or federal level, but absolutely, if we have the time to, if we have the staffing to, we will spend time ensuring we can make change on every level so that we can stretch your dollar. Paige has nothing left to say. But
Yeah, thanks. I agree with everything that Isaiah just said. I'm not going to repeat it. I'm not going to repeat them. Oh.
Perfect.
Oh,
Ms. Lindman,
sorry.
this question is for you, Paige. One of the most common complaints on campus is about dining halls and cost of food. How might you change dining for students?
Okay, yeah, so I know a lot of stuff has been changing on campus specifically with dining, especially with how much like a meal swipe is worth. I believe it's a $7.20.
50.
$7.50. Personally, like what I said, I don't live on campus anymore. I do live off campus. So I don't really hear too many concerns with what's going on with food. I know that stuff in the UC is changing all the time with adding new markets, new Dove stuff. But I do know, which I'm going to leave Isaiah to talk about this, a new change that just happened with the Dove,
Onion rings?
with the onion rings at the sides, of being able to drop money down on that. But overall, I think Isaiah can probably touch on that a little bit more than me.
Yeah, so I mean, I was teed up for the onion rings thing, so I can bring it up. I'm a big O-rings guy myself. I like a cheese curd. I like a side, big fried side guy. Grew up in Wisconsin after all. You can now on the app, if you're ordering at the Dub, replace fries with a different side for the same price, right? So I think I'm getting fact checked in real time. Real time debate fact check. Not the same price.
No, isn't it $2.99? Sorry.
Upcharge,
for-
$2.99
I was
upcharge.
going to say sorry for interrupting,
We're
but I think
figuring
it's
it out.
$2.99. But it's still cheaper than getting it for $5.99 on its own.
Exactly.
So you're saving money.
I think long term though, right? This is like a huge, it's a concern we hear, particularly if we have a little pie chart. I'm a big data informed campus guy. If I'm to steal the chancellor's line, we have a pie chart of the student concerns we got while we were asking for signatures. The biggest part of that pie chart is dining concerns. Like I said earlier, it's kind of the largest through line of any student government career. I think you're always going to hear about dining. Dining prices, I think probably some of the best work. I would be lying to you if I said we're going to lower dining prices. I think that's just the truth. It's hard to lower prices anywhere. That's why I harp so much on student fees, which is a space I think we really can control if you go out to vote, if we have the mandate. But I think it's important to realize that maybe the stuff we should do is to continue to do the great work that Warhawk Dining does in terms of communicating price changes, communicating when eggs are in short supply and the prices are going to go up. I think that's work that student government can really do. Gosh, does it suck that I can't just like say we're going to snap our fingers and lower prices. But yeah, I mean, it's just hard to make that promise, you know. So I can't make promises I won't keep. Promises made, promises kept.
We have 2 questions remaining this evening. Mr. Wilson, this question goes to you. Is there one particular achievement you are proud of in your current, underlined current, respective roles?
My current roles, one particular achievement. I think on a very personal level, and I don't know who wrote this, but my assumption is because I'm really only seeing WSG faces at this point that they know about it. But last year in the spring, Doug and I really, I think, did our first big project together, and it was some of the Rock County stuff. I look back at the Rock County work we did 2 semesters ago now with so much pride. I love that work. I love that I got to do it with my best friend. I loved that I think, got to use our strengths well in meeting with Rock and prioritizing what the folks at RSGA needed. That one stands out to me. I hate to say that I'm proudest of a thing that's in motion right now, but some of the work relating to the AI committee that we're putting together, I'm really proud of that work that we're doing right now. I had a meeting with Blake Irwin and Nick Patricus when they were in Senate leadership, and I said a big priority of mine would be that we are going to make a more transparent Senate leadership. Man, I don't know if we've hit the ball out of the park on that, but I like that that's like a consistent culture thing that I'm trying to push, is a call first attitude, and the idea that what we do here is not house of cards, you know, like that it's student government and we can be open and honest about it with each other. So I look back at that conversation with a lot of pride too. I know I said a bunch of stuff. Paige, talk about the graphics and the social media.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for the tee up right there. Yeah, so for my role, I've almost been in it, not for 2 years quite yet, but almost 2 years. I've been the director of communications, which I'm thankful for President Doug for giving me the opportunity to have this role. Because of him, I probably would not be here right now. But with my role, this is more like sentimental to me of what I think is an achievement from it is with my committee overall, my goal is to really collaborate with my senators as much as I can. Like what I said earlier during this debate, I want them to feel like the work that they're doing is like benefiting others, not only just us as an organization. And like with the graphics and everything, I recently created a TikTok page for WSG, which it is a little bit harder gaining followers, especially for like student organizations here on campus, with the rhythms and everything like that. But just seeing the followers slowly go up, yeah, it might not be thousands of followers and stuff like that, but the followers that we do have on there, obviously they're enjoying the content that we're producing. And obviously, achievement to me is when I'm able to get the organization to come together and make those funny TikToks, because it's not only doing business, but it's just getting to know one another more on a personal level, have fun. Yes, our organization is very important and we do take things seriously, but it's also fun to hang out with one another like that, make some funny videos, do some dance TikToks of Abby. Best time ever. Shout out Abby. But overall, I love the work that we do. And I think our social media platforms in general is an achievement overall with just having fun, but also getting the point out there at the end of the day to the students here on campus.
Thank you. The final question goes to you, Ms. Silliman. If elected, what is the biggest thing you would like to accomplish by the end of your term?
Yeah, okay, so I have a lot of things that come to mind, if you want me to be honest. So I can talk about two of them, but I will keep them brief in a way, just because I only have a few minutes to talk about them. But what I touched on earlier, like what I said with AI, I do want to bring that more onto this campus. It is a growing thing. It's not going to be going anywhere anytime soon. So really trying to incorporate that in the classes, not in a way for students to take advantage of it, not at all. I really just want students to be able to use it, and faculty members as well, to broaden the information, the concepts in class, with being able to teach students in new ways. And also, I think it'd be really beneficial if there's a thing called like AI chatbots that will be on universities' websites here. Like an example, maybe like dining. If you have to go to the dining website and you're like, man, like I really want to know what they're serving tonight for dinner, or like what time do they open, and it doesn't say it on the website, instead of having to contact someone by email and having to wait for a response, I think an AI chatbot can be really beneficial. That'll be located on the website's page, which is 24/7 access, where you can go ask a question and get back an answer right away, just getting that fast turn rate and giving the students the answers that they need. So overall, just really tackling that AI, just because that's something that I'm very passionate about. I'm hoping to go into a career field after college in AI. But I'm not going to go into detail about that. That's not why I'm here to talk about that. But outside of that, my other main priority is Greek life. That is something that is really important to me. And I know with everything that's going on, I want them to feel like they are being heard and they are being represented with student government here. So that's something that I will be tackling the second I get in office. I already have a lot of ideas, people who I'm going to be reaching out to. I'm not going to talk about that right now because that's going to be a little surprise. But there's already people that I'm already talking with, and they already have a lot of thoughts and opinions and amazing ideas that I'm already taking into consideration. I think it's really going to benefit this campus as a whole when this happens. Thank you.
That was right up to the buzzer. You can't see the stop signs, but Paige just fade away on that one. That was beautiful. Gosh, I think I also have two things. I'm going to start with the tangible one, and I've talked about it a lot, but this is the last question, so I'm going to do another call to action. We're likely going to be the only names on the ballot. You should still go out and vote. You should still tell your friends to go out and vote, because if in May of next year, I can say that we took a look at every single student fee and we looked to reduce, consolidate, or eliminate them, and we did one of those things to all of those, man, that's it. That's the thing we're trying to do. That's the affordability umbrella. So please go out and vote. I mean, like in terms of tangible stuff, I'm so passionate about that. Then there's this other thing, and it's like the transparency and accessibility stuff of what we do. Official announcement, if elected, we want to hire a full-time video editor to help do some work in terms of publicizing the work that we do, so students know how we're making decisions and how to be a part of them. man, if in a year our social media presence has grown so that students know if they want to see what we're doing in terms of affordability, see what we're doing in terms of dining, they can go look at an Instagram reel with the student affairs director, or if they want to know about the affordability stuff we're doing, they can look at a reel of myself, that we can make it look good and fun. Uh, Gosh, I think if that's the student government we have in a year from now, um, honestly, if just the two things that Paige and I talked about and the two things that I talked about, if you have any faith that we're going to deliver on those four things, I would ask you, does that seem like a successful year of student government to you? And if it does, go vote on the 17th and 18th.
That was the end of our questions, both pre-prepared and audience this evening. Before we go into our closing statements, I don't know if it's a record. We're going to have to go check. The slate answered 30 questions this evening, so we can give them a round of applause, please. We had 8 pre-prepared questions and 22 questions were taken from the audience, and we still have some left over.
For the audience from up here?
We still have some left over. So my next point, let's type for the audience who submitted lots and lots of questions. I believe 25 questions were submitted tonight, and we asked 22. We asked as many as we could. So thank you very much. We're going to move into our closing statements here. Mr. Wilson, you will begin. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for their closing. And then I have a couple of remarks at the end, and that'll be our evening. So, Mr. Wilson, whenever you're ready.
I don't want to just re-say some of the things I just said, but I'm going to. My favorite question to be asked is, if you are the only people on the ballot, why should we go out and vote? If your friends ask you that, these are the only people on the ballot, why did you ask me to click on this link? Why did you ask me to open my email? Why did you ask me to scan this QR code? Why am I voting? If these are the only people here, I want you to be able to give them an answer. So this is the answer I want you to give. I went to the debate, or I saw their Instagram reels, and I was mobilized by the promises that they made. I want them to deliver on those promises. I think they'll be better positioned to deliver on those promises if you vote for them. I have a big whiteboard wall in the conference room in the library that I work at, and it has a number on it of votes that we want to get. Everyone on the campaign team knows, Paige knows, it's got 4 digits. It's a lot of votes. I am positive we will hit it. We have like specific plans to hit it. I'll be campaigning for 24 hours tomorrow because I'm so passionate about hitting it, because I really want to see this work get done. Vote Wilson Linneman for a seat at the table. Shout out Nick Patrikis. Follow your dreams.
Wow. Yeah, Isaiah's right on that 24-hour campaigning. He will be out there, and you maybe see me out there in a puffer jacket freezing, because we are here to support the students and we are there to show them our support. Overall, I really just wanted to say thank you for everyone here. Thank you for Doug for being here tonight. Amazing. Thank you, Sadie. Thank you, Kim. Thank you for everyone out in the audience who decided to take the night to be here and to ask those questions. For whoever did submit those, thank you, because we want to hear your concerns. And already, I know Isaiah and I both already took those into considerations for some, especially the tire slashing one. Sorry about that one again, and the spoons. We will get onto that right away. But I just wanted to say thank you, everyone. Thank you, Oren, as well, up there. Really just thank you for listening, and I'm really excited to see where things go from here. Obviously, you guys heard what our main priorities are and where we're heading, and I'm excited to see Isaiah and I go into action. So once again, vote Isaiah Wilson and Paige Linneman for the next student body, president and vice president. Thank you.
Great job. That's awesome. I too have a couple thanks to give. Thank you to our timing crew, Ryan and Annalise, for keeping our candidates on time tonight. Thank you very much to these folks. Also to our clerk, Sadie J. West, who is running this election, did a fantastic job prepping for this evening and is putting in a lot of time to make sure the election runs smoothly. Please, a big round of applause to our clerk, Sadie J. West. Also to our advisor, Kim Clarkson, who helped this evening as well, scanning questions. Thank you for nice legible handwriting up here and all the time you put in and you help us with. So thank you very much. Also in the booth to our crew, Oren Smith, who's helping us with our recording tonight. Thank you very much. As well as Gavin from University Center Tech Crew helping us with our mics. So thank you both. I suppose I'll give a call to action. The election is next week, March 17th and 18th. You will be receiving the ballot in your email. So I encourage you, I ask of you, I beg of you, please make sure you vote. It's very important. I think the candidates touched on why it's important to them. As a student body president, it's very important to our organization that we have a large voter turnout. So with that, on behalf of University of Wisconsin-Whitewater and the student body, I thank you for your attendance, both candidates and audience. Thank you for your attendance and your civic engagement this evening. I ask that you go in peace. The debate has ended. Thank you.